Harrowing scenes as communities in West Africa battle against the Ebola virus. It's still too early to say just how many lives this outbreak will claim, but experts are now warning this crisis could be dwarfed by another looming on the horizon: the rise of the antibiotic-resistant superbug. Bacteria are now making many antibiotics ineffective, and the claim is that if new drugs aren't developed, we could face an almost unthinkable scenario where minor infections could once again kill.
Absolutely, it's a big problem.
Professor Colin Garner from York is now spearheading a new charity which aims to develop a new generation of antibiotics.
Ebola is a great risk in West Africa, as we can see. I mean, thousands have already died, and it's postulated that many more thousands are going to die. But if you look at what's happened in the West, there have been only a few isolated cases. But in the case of antibiotic-resistant infections, it's going to affect everybody in the UK. We will all be at risk, simply because those infections will be easily transmitted from one person to another.
It's estimated that there are 400,000 cases of reported antibiotic-resistant infections, with 25,000 deaths each year in the European Union. In the UK, the figure is close to 5,000 deaths per year. Antibiotics are given for just a short course of treatment, and so for the big drugs firms, sales are very limited. In fact, only 5 new types of antibiotics have been introduced since the 1960s.
Okay, so I'm just going to take your blood pressure this morning.
But GPs like Mark Holmes in York say patients must accept that many common ailments don't require antibiotics.
Only 10% of sore throats will be responsive to an antibiotic. So there's some clear messages there about educating patients about what is a viral infection and what is a bacterial infection that would be treatable by an antibiotic.
Within the next 5 or 10 years, we could be seeing widespread resistance to the vast majority of antibiotics that we have. We do have a couple of last resort antibiotics which are quite toxic and can be unpleasant to take, and maybe not as effective as the antibiotics we routinely use.
If we don't act now, in 10-20 years' time, medicine as we know it could be completely different. I mean, issues such as a grazed knee could become life-threatening. Standard operations that we see today could become life-threatening. So it will change the medicine as we know it out of all recognition, and has the potential to send it back to the Dark Ages, which is quite frightening.
There has already been a return of TB in London. Now Antibiotic Research UK is hoping to raise up to £30 million to pioneer at least one new antibiotic over the next 5 to 7 years. A small price perhaps to prevent a return to a world where a simple scratch could mean death. John Hill, ITV News.